Big victories for the month of April in immigration, especially for green card holders. These four categories of immigrants will have an advantage in the month of April and hopefully the month of May. In this video, I'm going to share the four categories of immigrants, especially green card holders, who can now submit petitions for themselves or for their families. I'm going to explain these different four types of immigrants, how to submit their petitions and applications, and why it is advantageous for them to submit it right now. I've never seen a month of April like this in immigration in a very long time, and I can't wait to dive into it. And just to top it off, a federal judge also made a decision that will assist 900,000 immigrants. All right, so let's dive into it. The four categories of immigrants who have big victories for the month of April. And again, I love sharing this information to you, not only as an immigration attorney, but as a former immigrant myself who is dependent on petitions and applications like the one that we see being accessible in the month of April. All right, without further ado, let's go. Number 1, green card holders. The F2A category is now available and it is now current. So the F2A category is for green card holders who want to petition for their spouse. So what does that mean? It means that a green card holder can petition for his spouse who is inside the US and is in legal status, and it will be processed. Typically, only United States citizens can do that. Right before the green card holder would have to submit that petition, they would be assigned pretty much a visa number, then they would have to wait some period of time before it is current. But now in April, the F2A category is now current. So if you're a green card holder and you have a spouse that is here in the US, you can petition immediately as if you were a United States. You can check on the visa bulletin and you can see all the information there for the F2A category. Green card holders, this is an incredible opportunity for you to bring your spouse, to apply for your spouse. But remember the key, your spouse cannot be here illegally or have any unlawful status. Your spouse must be in lawful status. And that means also if they're here on a visiting visa. So now is the time to take advantage of that for green card holders massive right now. And it's also for the countries who have always had significant backlog like India and China. All right, number 2 group of immigrants, EB2 employment-based second category. This visa is now current. So if you are an immigrant and you have an employer that is willing to petition for you, or who has petitioned for you already based on your skill, experience, and being of extraordinary ability, they can petition for you, and it is accessible for you to submit right now. That category is now current, and there are more visas accessible. Also, if you're an employer, this is wonderful news. You can have that employee obtain their work permit like within 3 to 4 months, and then their green card later. There is no waiting. This is a wonderful opportunity. In the EB2 category, what is required? It is required for the employer to provide the employee a job offer. That's the first thing. Number 2, there needs to be a labor certification. There has to be a labor certification which pretty much shows that you have advertised that job and a US citizen or a permanent resident cannot fill it. And number 3, that immigrant has to be valuable to that business. Has to have some type of degree or advanced degree, or if they do have only a bachelor's, they have to have progressive work experience. Wonderful opportunities, fantastic for American businesses, fantastic for employers, and also fantastic for employees. And the same thing is accessible for the EB3 category. Number 3, asylum seekers. This category has been paused for a long time, but they just resumed processing. The Trump administration has indicated that they will now resume processing for asylum seekers that are now in the country. However, of course, there is a however, there's an exception. This is only to asylum seekers who are from low-risk countries. They're not from high-risk. They're from low-risk countries. And of course, the administration will determine which is a low-risk and which is a high-risk country. And 2, these asylum applications, they have to be screened and vetted. But the positive news is that they are now processing because there has been a major halt on asylum. But positive news for asylum seekers because they are now resuming processing. And number 4, last but not least, a federal judge has declared that the Trump administration has unconstitutionally revoked 900,000 CBP One parole entrants. So under the Biden administration, 900,000 immigrants, they legally entered the country through the CBP One app and they were paroled into the country. However, once it transitioned over to the Trump administration sent these people letters and stated that they need to depart the country, or some of them were even deported. The federal judge has declared that this was unconstitutional and they need to pretty much get back their status. They need to be reinstated. So, this is a victory. It will allow for people who entered who were vetted and screened through the CBP One app to be able to move forward with other processes. So, if you are one of these 4 immigrants, if you are a green card holder, now is the time to submit that I-130 and that I-485 to adjust the status of your spouse. Of course, you do have to demonstrate that it is a bona fide marriage. And yes, a legal status can be a visiting visa. And the second group of people, it's the EB2 and the EB3. Now is the time for you to submit that I-140, right? And to also submit your adjustment of status. That is what current means when it relates to the Visa Bulletin Board. So if you're an employer and you've been waiting, now is the time to submit the adjustment of status, or if you are that employee that has been waiting, you can request for that job offer so that they can begin labor certification process and then actually begin filing with immigration. Number 3, asylum is now back. So now is the time where if you feel like your asylum was not strong enough, right? Meaning you sent in a bare bones application. Now is the time for you to supplement it, right? Get those affidavits. Make sure that you have current country conditions. Make sure you have all the evidence that is necessary for a strong asylum case, right? And a lot of times asylum cases are won and lost by credibility. How well you will testify, how well or how strong your affidavit was to demonstrate that you did belong to a certain social class that did experience some type of persecution and there's a legitimate fear of you returning to your home country, but also because the government did not try to protect you. And last but not least, for the people who entered on that parole on the CBP app, now you can come out of the shadows if you're still here. You do have your legal status. Now you can apply, right? And you may potentially have an asylum claim if you have not submitted it as yet. So big month for immigration, and I hope this information was valuable to you. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment if this was valuable to you, or if you think it will be valuable for a friend or a family member. They could be an athlete. They could be an entertainer. They could be an employer. They could be an employee. If it's valuable, let them know about it. The time to move is right now.